York Trials Unit at the University of York. This is the Research Room.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Research Room with me, Lucy Ather.
And me, Emma Standley.
Yay!
It's good to be back.
Yeah, thanks, Emma, for joining us today. We have Emma, who's standing in for Janine today, so special guest host. But this isn't the first time you've been the host.
No, we enjoyed a Christmas special.
Yeah, we did. So
2 months
welcome
ago.
back.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah. And today, joining us in the Research Room, we have Dr Laura Wiley and Dr Lesley from the Gentle Years Yoga Project. Welcome to the Research Room.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, just to get us started, could you introduce yourselves for us?
Hi, yes, I'm Dr Laura Wiley. I am a research fellow at York Trials Unit, and I worked as trial coordinator for the Gentle Years Yoga trial. So I've been in the unit for 7 years now, and I joined the Gentle Years Yoga team in September 2019.
Oh, great. It's quite a while ago.
Yeah. So my background is actually biological aging research.
Oh, okay.
So I've got interests in lifestyle determinants for healthy aging. And I'm also interested in quality assurance. Yeah, so that's me.
Yeah. Oh, good. This sounds like it's right up your street then.
It is very much.
Hi, I'm Dr Lesley. I'm a research fellow at Northumbria University, and I joined the Gentle Years Yoga trial. I came in at the beginning as well, and I was one of the researchers on the process evaluation part of the trial. So my background is I'm actually a yoga teacher as well.
Oh, great.
So my PhD looked at yoga for people with musculoskeletal conditions, and then I did that in New Zealand. And then I heard my accent when I said New Zealand.
You're the first Kiwi we've had in the research room, so we're very happy about that.
Thank you. And then I did my postdoc at Oxford University and worked on a trial of physiotherapy with older adults. So I'd sort of been used to working with an older adult population. And then someone at work sent me an email when Professor Gary Chu got the funding for the Gentle Years Yoga trial and said, "Have you seen this?" So I emailed him and went, "Oh, is there any jobs?" And there was one position left, which was being advertised the very next day. So I put an application in and got it. So yeah, serendipity.
Yeah.
And then I moved up to Newcastle upon Tyne for the research.
Oh, such a dream team for this project.
I know,
with all your interests and backgrounds.
Yeah, definitely. So the project is called Gentle Years Yoga. Is that the whole title? Is there a longer title?
No, there is a long title. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So it is the individually randomised control multi-centre trial to determine the clinical and cost effectiveness of an adapted yoga programme for older adults with multimorbidity, including an embedded process evaluation.
Wow. That is a long one. That might be one of the longest I've ever heard. That's not an acronym. I realised it didn't start with a G, so you've made Gentle Years Yoga because it sounds better.
So Gentle Years Yoga is actually, I'm not sure if I've trademarked it, Laura, but it's actually a specific type of yoga developed by the British Wheel of Yoga. So we took a program that the British Wheel of Yoga already had, and then that was the intervention that we used in our research.
I see.
Yeah, so that's the official name of that type of yoga. So it's a chair-based form of yoga.
Oh.
So it's not only done sitting on a chair, but a lot of it is carried out on a chair, and it was developed for older adults. So yeah, a gentler style of yoga than you may find in your normal high street yoga studios.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, I think that sounds nice, Gentle Years Yoga.
Yeah, it really sounds quite calming.
It
Gentle
does,
Years.
definitely. Yeah. And do you have an acronym?
We have an abbreviation, so it's GYY.
GYY. Ah, okay. Well, so we rate your acronym here on the Research Room, but I feel a bit mean because I can't really pick apart GYY.
And it's like an external organisation.
Yeah, we don't want to offend the Wheel of Yoga people. Yeah.
You've got me thinking now, though, why didn't we have an acronym? Because maybe it's because GYY is always abbreviated, maybe.
Yeah.
We didn't think we needed one.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't know.
I think you get a point for Gentle Years Yoga because I like the name.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And it
Because-
does what it says on the tin as well, I think.
Yes, that's true. I
It-
like it when the name tells you exactly what the trial is
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Okay, you have another point for
Yeah.
that. But I do quite like it when they have an acronym though. That's like a word that all fits together.
Yeah, where the word describes what, like, it's related to the trial.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you going to give it out of 10? You can go first as
Okay.
our guest presenter.
I think I'm going to give it a 7.
That's very good.
Oh,
I
that's
like
all right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the name. It's just losing a few points for me that it doesn't create a word.
Yeah.
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 Me too. I'm going to give it a 6.5
Ooh.
because I like it, but it's not an acronym. So
Okay.
I can't
Fair enough.
quite give it more
Yeah.
than that.
So, in a nutshell, could you tell us what the project is about?
Yeah. So GYY, so we'll use the abbreviation.
Yeah.
So it was looking at whether a chair-based yoga program improved quality of life in older adults who had more than one long-term health condition. So this is known as multimorbidity.
Okay.
So I'll just break that down a little bit. So quality of life. So we ask participants to rate their health across a scale. So we use the EQ5D5L questionnaire.
Oh, yeah. I think
So
we've all
it-
used that one.
Yeah. And so that was our primary measure.
Okay.
So there's 5 areas. So mobility, self-care, usual activities, pain and discomfort, anxiety and depression.
Okay.
And then they choose 5 statements to rate those 5 areas. And then they also get asked to rate their health on a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is no health, 100
Right.
is best health.
Okay.
And in terms of long-term health conditions, so there was a list, predefined list of health conditions that people would be eligible if they had
Okay.
2 or more of these conditions. I don't know if you want me to run through them all, but
Yeah. What kind of health conditions are they?
So, for example, arthritis, asthma, heart condition, cancer.
Oh, so quite varied.
Quite varied.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did they tell you which conditions they had? Was it sort of self-reported?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they were identified at GP practices. So they used a database to search for participants
Okay.
who
Okay.
had these conditions. They had 2 or more, and then they were sent an invitation. And then the patient completed a self-completed questionnaire, screening questionnaire
Mm-hmm.
that gathered this information as well, just to make sure they had the 2 or more conditions,
Yeah.
and then they would be eligible to take part. So in terms of being eligible to take part, so they could be included, they also had to be 65 years or older
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and
Living in the community.
living in the community.
Okay.
So it's quite a...
Yeah, that sounds like quite a broad range, like quite a lot of
Yeah.
people that you'd include
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Was there a reason you went for 65 years?
So they have different ratings in the research world. So adults is usually 18 to 65 and 65 years
okay.
and older is usually how they define older adults.
Right.
So I think it was just, we were just keeping age ranges that reflected international groupings, so it makes it
Yeah.
easier to
Yeah.
compare your results.
I was going to say, like,
Yeah.
keep it
Yeah.
consistent with other research
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
everyone goes for
Yeah.
65.
And I was just going to mention too, for the health conditions, that it could have been physical or mental health conditions,
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
or
okay.
a combination of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
And did they have to be living in the community because yoga is considered to be sort of a community-based support? Is that where that fits in?
Yes, so they could have had support at home, so they were eligible. But if, for example, if they were in a nursing home, we couldn't have delivered the face-to-face classes.
Yeah.
Mm.
That
in a
makes
nursing
sense.
home.
I think,
But,
they needed to be, I think, to independently be able to
Independent.
get to the classes, didn't they?
I think it's the intervention, and it's just not kind of developed for delivering in if they're not in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the intervention, the yoga, that was like a class. It wasn't like a one-on-one yoga session.
It was a class, yeah.
Yeah. Right. And 12 weeks. So you'd have half the people in the study getting 12 weeks of going to a yoga class, a chair-based yoga class.
Yeah.
And then the other half would not get the yoga, and then you'd compare them.
Yes.
So they were the usual care group. So they continued with the usual care that they were getting from primary and secondary care. And also the intervention group continued with the usual care as well.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah.
So the only difference between the intervention group was that they attended the yoga classes.
Yeah. Yeah. And chair-based yoga then, was that quite hard to adapt? Is that similar to standing yoga?
So I have to put my yoga hat on here rather than my teacher one. So it's a specific way of training, of teacher training. So it would be a type of training you wouldn't get in your typical 200-hour teacher training. They're more mat-based classes. So I suppose in a way you could call it like more a special way of teaching yoga. It can be quite, sometimes you've got to think of, how the posture might look when you're doing it on the floor, and then how you can translate that to the chair, to sort of get the same effect that you're wanting. But as I said, it was chair-based, so it wasn't just chair, so individual teachers may choose different content in the class. Yeah.
Right.
So the yoga classes itself, they were once a week for 12 weeks, and that was a 75-minute class.
Oh, okay.
And then at the end of the class, there was an optional 15 minutes where people could stay on for a coffee and a chat if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And then what we did is it was a sort of a standardized way that 75 minutes was broken down in terms of, the first 5 minutes was housekeeping, the next 5 minutes was checking in with everyone, then I can't remember off the top of my head, but, maybe 10 minutes of warm-ups.
Yeah.
And so every class would include some physical postures, some breathing work, and then a sort of a relaxation-based practice as well.
Oh, okay.
So there was a set format of what needed to be in the class, but then each individual yoga teacher could choose, what postures they did and what breathing they did. And so it sort of mirrored real life in that in the community, every teacher, they may teach a certain style, but they may choose what content they have in their classes that fits in with that style.
They had to follow that structure.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be identical, would it, in the community?
Yeah, everyone's got their own, and that's what's nice about, when you do go to yoga, often we try different classes because it's that, every yoga teacher's different, and you find that one that you fits really nicely with you.
Yeah.
But the all of the classes, their content or the class plans had to be approved by. We had 2 yoga advisors from British Wheel of Yoga that were working on the trial as well. So they approved all of the plans for each of the teachers. Yeah. So just to make sure that it was fitting within that scope of being a gentle years yoga class.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a shame you don't do video podcasts.
I know,
we could have a little demonstration.
You could have shown us. Maybe in the future.
You can invite us back.
We'll get you back for a yoga lesson. And so could you tell us a bit about where the project came from and the background to the trial?
Yeah, so adults who have multimorbidity, so they have a reduced quality of life, reduced life expectancy, and increase in healthcare costs. But there's limited evidence to support kind of interventions that help with the health outcomes in this population.
Okay.
Especially with multimorbidity. And so there's a need to assess kind of low-cost interventions that can be delivered in the community. So why yoga? So it has the potential to address kind of multiple conditions at once.
Yeah.
So it's a mind-body practice. So as Lesley mentioned, physical, breathing exercises, concentration and meditation. So studies have shown that yoga improves quality of life, but the evidence is lacking in adults with multimorbidity. So more studies are needed in that area. So why GYY? So in 2009, so the British Wheel of Yoga chair-based yoga program. So this was developed for older adults with multimorbidity. And in 2016, there was a small pilot study. So it's a small number of participants. It's 52 participants. But this showed that the intervention was safe. There was good attendance. They had good recruitment into the study.
And they also found a small benefit of quality of life at 3 months. But then obviously a larger study was needed to support this result. So that's where the Gentle Years Yoga trial was.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Like you say, it benefits like mental health and physical health. And if you can do it in a class, you're almost kind of addressing two issues with lots of different people all at the same time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of some quite robust evidence for yoga already, but not in, as Laura said, not in the older adult age range, but in adults 18 to 65, but for single health conditions that a lot of are quite common in older adults. So, for example, we've got really robust evidence already, yoga for low back pain. There's yoga for anxiety, mental health. There's been systematic reviews in hypertension, different forms of arthritis. So we've there's been an evidence base for it for specific single conditions in adults, but not, as Laura said, for an older population with more than one of these.
Yeah.
So at the time of the Gentle Years Yoga trial, there was another trial in Australia who had an acronym. The SAGE trial. I can't remember what it stands for, but they were also looking at a trial of yoga for older adults. They were using a different type of yoga, and they were looking for falls prevention. So at the time, we were between us and the one in Australia, we were the biggest yoga trials that we know of internationally, looking at yoga for older adults.
Great.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, no, it sounds like it can, really benefit lots of different conditions. Yeah.
And having that sort of 15 minutes after the session as well, presumably for sort of social connection and just debriefing after the session, things like that is really beneficial, I imagine, as well.
Yeah.
For those that wanted it, I mean, it was quite interesting. There was about a 50-50 split, Laura, wasn't there? So some of them really valued it and stayed on, and it was a really nice part of their class. But others actually, they didn't have the interest. They actually just wanted to go and do the yoga, and once the class was finished,
that was it. Yeah.
So, but it's nice. It just shows, different people are coming for different reasons and getting different things out of it, and
and probably reflects real life as well, because a lot of people would go to yoga and then go for coffee afterwards or something like that.
Exactly.
So it's
definitely. Yeah. And we hear a lot about there being a kind of aging population in the UK. Did that sort of factor into it at all?
Well, I think it's one of the largest growing demographics internationally, isn't it? 65 and older.
Yeah.
And also, interestingly, in yoga, it is one of the fastest growing demographics of yoga users. So a lot of the more common yoga that you see, they often cater to a younger audience. But if you actually sit back and look at the statistics, a lot of people that are doing it now are in older age, and they're bringing a lot of these health conditions with them that people that are doing basic yoga training won't know anything about.
Right.
Yes, it's changed. And also too, 65, they call it older adults, but, many people are still working full time.
Yeah, definitely.
So 65 is different than it used to be. It's, some people are, we had people that were still working full time that were taking part in the yoga trials. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So shall we talk about how the project actually worked? So what kind of research methods were used to test the Gentle Years Yoga? Yeah, so it was a randomised control trial.
Oh yeah, we like those.
Yeah. So participants were randomised into 2 groups by a computer system. So they either were allocated to the intervention or the control group. So the recruitment was in waves. So once we had enough participants to kind of fill a class we had COVID, so we originally had 15 participants in the face-to-face classes. So once we had, say, 30 participants, we could randomise in a batch.
Oh, right. Oh, that's interesting.
So we tried to, make sure it was a 1-to-1 ratio.
So if there was 30 in a class, would you have to wait?
15.
Oh, 15. Right, okay. Yeah. So if you wanted 15 for the class, would you wait till there was 30? And then, because you'd think maybe half of them would end up in the class.
Yeah. So we waited until we had enough to randomise so we could split them equally.
Yeah.
So we had a pilot phase with 2 waves.
Okay.
So the pilot phase was to test whether we could recruit enough participants. They attended the class. I think the other one was follow-up. So make sure we could had enough participants being followed up at, I think it was a 6-month time point. And then once we managed to pass the pilot phase, and so then we ran the main phase, which was another 2 waves of recruitment. So we kind of recruited per class, per area.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the people in the usual care arm, were they allowed to still go if they wanted to go to a yoga class? They could still go and do that.
They just continued with their lives. Whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we did record in the questionnaires whether they had attended any classes.
Okay, yeah. And so you mentioned earlier that you were measuring quality of life. So there's different scales, mobility and self-care and all those kinds of things. Were you measuring anything else?
Of course, yeah. So we actually measured another quality of life measure called the PROMISE questionnaire.
That's a nice acronym.
So that was quite nice. That was quite nice because it allowed us to test the validity of the EQ5D. And we might go on to the results later, but we did find that they correlated well.
So you had 2 different measures measuring
quality of life.
the same thing. Yeah, quality of life.
So we had a variety of secondary outcome measures. So these included depression, anxiety, loneliness, falls, safety. So we measured adverse events. Then we had the cost-effective analysis.
Oh yeah.
So this was measured by capturing healthcare usage, and we also had a sample of medication.
Right. Okay.
Obviously, the other secondary outcome was qualitative study, so the interviews with participants and yoga teachers.
Yeah, and Lesley, this was your bit, wasn't it? The qualitative process evaluation side of things.
Yeah. So in terms of the study design, it was a randomised controlled trial with an embedded process evaluation. So that meant that running in parallel with the trial, we were going in there and interviewing the yoga teachers and the participants just to see their experiences of the trial, so of delivering and receiving the yoga. And they were interview studies, so I interviewed people one-on-one, and then all that data was collated and analysed, and then it was reported on its own, but also at the end we triangulated it with the quantitative data. So it was quite good. So the quantitative data that from the outcomes Laura's just mentioned, that they sort of said what change happened, and the qualitative sort of explains why that change may or may not have happened. Yeah, so which I'm sure we'll go into later.
Yeah, no, I really like qualitative analysis. I think it gives you just a lot more context to your kind of numbers.
Definitely. You'll see how when
we'll
become very clear.
Yeah. I think participants like it as well, don't they? Because it gives them a chance to tell you about their experience with the quantitative measures. Although they're really helpful, they have to just sort of pick their response, and then the qualitative allows them to expand on that.
Very much. Yeah. And I think what was good too with the qualitative interviews, with the process evaluation, is that some of the participants we interviewed, we then followed up after the trial had finished.
Right.
So, because often, people can get quite excited, or not just in our trial, but in lots of trials, they can get quite excited while they're in it. But then after the trial, things may settle back down again. So it's always good to go back like 6 months after the trial is finished and say, how's things now? Or, are you still doing yoga, or what's happened since the trial? So that was really valuable data as well.
Yeah, definitely. They have a bit more time to reflect maybe, and then, and also just it's good to follow people up for long term. Really.
Yeah.
And how many participants did you get in the study?
So just to say, our original sample size was 586.
Okay.
But just to say, we managed to recruit 454, and our statisticians were satisfied with that sample size for the power of the study. We did go through a rocky part because we went through COVID.
Yeah, because this was all happening sort of 2019 is when you started, I think. So so you obviously went through
So
COVID.
we did actually have to pause while we were delivering the face-to-face classes, and then we moved the classes to online.
Right, okay.
How did they find that? Participants, sorry.
I think it was great.
So I can say some of that later if you want as part of the process evaluation.
Okay,
but I just wanted to maybe stress what a massive obstacle that was for the trial.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
And because that happened at the end of the pilot phase, literally, 2 weeks after our pilot phase finished, we went into lockdown. So Gentle Years Yoga is developed as a face-to-face type of yoga that you deliver to a group. So they had never taught it online before. And we were really lucky, weren't we, Laura, with the funders, that the NIHR were our funders, agreed to let us try to adapt the trial to online delivery. But it wasn't just learning to deliver yoga faced online. It was everything. They had to learn the technology. We had to get screens in there, make sure internet connections. We had to have new procedures for seeing if our participants actually had the IT literacy to be able to use online. The yoga teachers and the participants were both learning how to use Zoom at the same. Like, it was massive.
Yeah, it is a massive change, isn't it?
And this was all being coordinated here by Laura and the team at York. You know, no one. They had no office spaces to go into. So I can't overemphasize what a rabbit was pulled out of the hat by the York Trial unit team. It was phenomenal.
Wow. Yeah.
But the data collection as well.
Everything.
Yeah.
So it was, and the process evaluation was quite easy because I could adapt to, because I had been doing the interviews face to face, but we actually managed to adapt them to telephone and online really easily. And in fact, it works so well that is now a sort of a default for a lot of our interviews. Participants found it worked really well.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's funny to think back now, isn't it? Like, we're all so used to using like Zoom and video calls and things, but at the time, you just had never done that before.
There was so much to think. Even in terms of the yoga content. So I'd said that Gentle Years Yoga is chair-based yoga. So, which means that you can have, for example, standing and, floor-based postures as well.
Yeah.
But of course, when you're delivering online, you've got to be able to see the person.
Yeah.
So, of course, it changed the content of some of the things they delivered, because really you couldn't have postures with people on the floor, because then that took them out of the visual sight of the yoga teacher.
Yeah.
So,
my God.
There was a lot going on.
Much to think about.
That was a massive challenge.
Yes.
And I suppose like the social side of it as well, because people then weren't having that bit at the end where they could chat. Or did you keep them in the Zoom meetings?
So they did. So the yoga teachers did. They just kept that 15-minute Zoom going on.
Wow. So they followed the same standardized structure, whether it's face-to-face or online.
Yeah.
But obviously that social time was online.
And then did you go back to face-to-face at any point in the trial?
We did.
Yeah.
So I think it was our final wave. We had online or face-to-face classes.
Oh, and people could choose.
Oh, right. And did you find that they chose more?
I don't think they could choose. They had to be able to attend both. Like if they signed up, they needed to have the capacity to be able to do it online.
Because we couldn't change the criteria. So we changed the criteria to ask them, did they have a computer?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. In case they needed to do it online.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yes. Oh, God, it's funny to think back to COVID times.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Sounds like you overcame that challenge, which is good. And so 454 is what you had in the end.
It is. Yeah.
And the statistician said, we can deal with that. That's fine. You don't have to carry on recruiting.
Yeah. Then we finished recruitment, and then participants were followed up at 3, 6, and 12 months time points.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the primary outcome was at 12 months.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So you wanted to wait. That's quite a long time, I guess. Yeah. But then that's to see the real effects and if they're long-lasting effects, I suppose.
Right.
And were they still wanting to complete the questionnaires at 12 months?
We had a really good return rate. So I think it was like 85 to
Oh,
90%
wow.
return
That's
rate.
very good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we spend a lot of our time, don't we, trying to boost our questionnaire return rates. But,
So it makes up for our lack of an acronym.
Yeah,
we have really good
there you
return
go.
rates.
We'll give you an extra point for your return rates.
It's so important though, isn't it? Giving people that opportunity to feedback on how they've experienced the trial and how they're feeling, and they've signed up to do it, haven't they, at the start, so they know that those time points are coming and when they'll be expecting to do it. So that's great.
I think that's true what you said though, they know it's coming. I think it was like there was always really clear communication.
Yeah.
This is how many times you'll be doing it, this is when they're due. So, they sort of they weren't, nothing was sort of out of the blue.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, that's really I think especially,
and that doesn't happen in every trial.
No, it doesn't.
I'm really upping the trial team here.
No, it's true, and especially if you've got quite a big gap between like your 3 month and your 12 month.
They actually got a newsletter.
Oh yeah.
We had like a nice diagram as well. When they received their questionnaire, they knew where they were in the study and what to
that's a good
expect.
idea.
That's nice. Yeah.
We also did have some studies within the trial.
Did you?
We could maybe talk about them later with the results, but
we can talk about them now.
Yeah. So the first one was including a £5 note and a pen, or either or, in the recruitment pack. So whether it increased recruitment. Do you want the results now?
Yeah, go for it. Did it increase?
So we found that it didn't increase, but it was a faster return rate.
Oh, okay. What, giving them a £5 note?
Yeah.
Or a pen? Or
it was a £5 note.
That's good. I like studies within a trial. I find them.
Would you like some of the process evaluation feedback on that too?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I think too, it's with the older adults, there's a lot of there's a lot of loyalty to the NHS or to health research and that. So I think we get good buy-in with older adults. And, Laura's saying the results of the studies within a trial showed there was no impact on return rates. And they were saying in the interviews they didn't want the £5.
Yeah.
They'd agreed to do the study, and a lot of them said we don't need the money.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to hear that. Yeah, it was something they really didn't expect or really want with it.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting and quite a useful finding then, because maybe you don't
big
need
money
to...
saver.
We don't need to give them £5. They're happy to do it. That's not why they would do the research.
Yeah, and you found that, don't you? People are wanting to contribute to the research.
What's that? Definitely.
What's that word?
They're all
altruism.
Yeah.
Feeling
out and just wanting to contribute for themselves, but also for the future of other people with the similar conditions or the future of research.
Yeah. No, I think we found that a lot in loads of different trials. The reasons people tend to do it, or people are very happy to do it, even if it won't directly benefit them, for kind of people in the future or other people with the same conditions. That's a big motivator, I think, which is so nice.
It is.
Yeah. And was there another SWOT, did you say?
So we had
a study within a trial.
A pen with follow-up.
A pen. We've heard a lot about the pen.
That didn't show any. We also had the offer of a free yoga class after the 12-month follow-up. So this was in the usual care group.
Yeah.
So 50% got offered a free yoga class when they would finish after 12 months. So did that retain them in the study? And that didn't show any difference.
Didn't it? Okay. I'm surprised. I think I would do a questionnaire for a free yoga class.
Yeah, I would. That would definitely. I'd do it for the pen, to be honest. Yeah.
And our final one was comparing the EQ5D and the promise. So we showed that they were kind of correlated and agreed with each other.
Oh, so that's good. Yeah.
So that was a good outcome.
Wow, so you had lots going on. You had lots of different studies within the trial.
Yeah.
So did the was the promise scale a relatively new scale to be comparing it to the EQ5D? Because that's quite a well-used questionnaire, isn't it?
No, I think the EQ5D's quite often used for health economics.
Yeah.
So, and I think maybe the promise might have been a bit more familiar.
Okay.
Maybe for other conditions. I'm not sure, but
just out of interest, you'd have to keep that in.
No, it's interesting because I haven't come across, I don't think, a trial that's done that with the two measures of the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing to do, I guess, to check that they do agree with each other.
Yeah.
I know a trial in the past, and it looked at sleep questionnaires as one of the main outcomes, and it had 7 different sleep questionnaires because it was and because what it was trying to do is showing, what's the one with the least burden that has the same result. So, instead of giving someone 35 questions, could they actually see it quite clearly if they only gave them 7 questions? That was a really interesting study.
Put my nerdy methodology hat
Yeah.
on. But I like that. And I think sometimes it's tempting to put as many questions as we possibly can because we want to get as much. But if you can do it with less questions.
Give them a visual analog scale and
definitely. Yeah.
Because we shouldn't collect data if we're not going to be using it all, or if it's not that helpful. It should just be exactly what you need. And
and for the participant, they don't want to fill in a really, really long. If you can make it easier for them, I think that's always a good idea. Yeah. So the trial is finished. So you have some results, I think.
We do.
Could you tell us what the results were?
Okay, so we found that there was no significant differences in the clinical effectiveness.
Okay.
So there was no change with the EQ5D5L. It wasn't significant. And secondary outcomes, there was no difference in those as well.
So there was no difference. So that means that the people in the yoga group and the people in the usual care group, there was no difference in their quality of life.
That's right. Yeah. And the other secondary outcome measures.
And yeah.
Okay.
And can I say that was a very devastating meeting because we were so excited, weren't we? And the graphs went up and we were like,
with such great return rates. But then I think we always say a result is a result, even if it's not, doesn't show a significant difference.
Yeah.
That's really good to know. And now we know that there's no significant difference between the groups.
Yeah.
But you did do a process evaluation, and that had some interesting.
Because and I think that's why we're saying it's really helpful to have some qualitative work in with a clinical trial, with a randomised control trial, because the quantitative outcomes showed the group effect, but the qualitative shows individual effects. So overall there was no significant difference between the two groups. But when I can't remember off the top of my head, it was a while ago, but I think we did over 30 interviews for the process evaluation, and some of those we did longitudinal as well. And we found there were sort of 3 types of responses to the yoga. So for some people, it wasn't their thing and they didn't really get anything from it. Some of them really enjoyed it, but probably won't keep going after the trial. But for another group, it was transformative. We had reports of improving the symptoms of their health conditions. Some of them were, instead of using acute medication, for example, for pain or for asthma or for anxiety, they were sitting down and doing some yoga techniques instead, some breathing or some gentle warm-ups. So there's a really big range of responses across it. So collectively as a group, there was no significant difference, but for individuals within the group, for some of them, it was transformative and very new. There were some really nice quotes. Like one participant was in their, I think they were 72. They were 70, and they were talking about the breathing techniques. And, in yoga, we do a lot of breathing through the nostrils. So when you breathe in, it's often cooler, and when you breathe out, it's warmer because you're breathing out the warmth from your body. And she was describing it. She used it to help with her anxiety. And she said, how did I get to 70 and never noticed that before? So some really, really nice reports on reflections on how they'd found the trial. I think too what we found, and it shows in the outcomes Laura was talking about with the quality of life, is that they were really quite healthy going in. So there wasn't a lot of room to improve. And also often we find this with older adult populations, especially if they've had their illnesses for a long time, it is their normal. They've lived with it for so long that they're not always feeling so impacted by it because they're just used to living or adapting to how they do things. So, or they're quite stoic.
Yeah.
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 So, I think it all makes it a bit more difficult to get a clear picture of.
Yeah. Do you think that
of where
made a
they're at.
difference to the outcome?
Yeah, I think it made a difference. I think if we look at the baseline scores, we'll see that they were quite high for
Yeah.
older adults with multiple health conditions anyway. So they were coming into the project quite healthy.
Yeah.
I know sometimes you get, don't you, in research, you say, well, you're getting the ones that are keen and interested. There's a bit of a bias in who joins up anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know, because our criteria was so broad
Yeah.
for anyone to get in, but
yeah, because you must have had some people who whose conditions were kind of at the worst end. You weren't excluding people because their conditions were too severe.
no, definitely not.
Although one of the criteria was contraindications to yoga, and that was assessed by their
What does that
GP.
mean?
So that is if they have any risks of taking part in yoga because of their conditions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the GP would have excluded them because of that.
Right, okay. If they were at like a really high risk of, say, falling over or hurting themselves, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe, say, advanced treatment for a condition.
And did you say that you'd interviewed the yoga teachers as well?
Yes. Yeah, just to see their thoughts of delivering the yoga for the trial.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting because, as Laura was saying, we had to switch on a pin to online delivery.
Yeah,
So that was really exciting for everyone because a lot of them had never delivered online before either. So that was actually an extra publication we got out of the trial that we hadn't planned from the start because, of course, we didn't have COVID at the start. And what we found is the online yoga went down really well, really, really well.
Oh, great.
Because there was a little bit of a thought when we were thinking about it that older adults, they mightn't be used to being online.
Yeah.
But as we said, it's a changing demographic.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are still working. A lot of them have grandkids, so they're used to communicating with grandkids on tablets or that anyway. So, and also they had to, because it was COVID, they actually had to already have that in the home to be able to take part in the study. So we were sort of getting people that were already set up. So for example, they couldn't do it if they only had a mobile phone. They had to have access to a laptop or a tablet with a decent sized screen to see the But the participants really liked online for the convenience.
Yeah.
And especially some of them that maybe had conditions that fluctuated, like rheumatoid arthritis. And they were saying if they were experiencing a flare, they wouldn't have been able to get out of the house to attend a class. But because they could just put the computer on in their living room, they could still do the class.
Yeah.
And the teachers really liked that too. They found that it made it a lot more accessible. It meant they weren't limited to only teaching where they lived.
Yeah, they could teach anyone, anywhere.
Yeah. So, and it was, they found it helpful. A lot of them were learning as they went of how to learn to use Zoom and how to adapt their classes. Yeah, so the online aspect went down really well.
Yeah.
A lot of our participants said they actually preferred it, and even post-trial, when all the COVID restrictions were lifting, they were actually still choosing to attend classes online.
Oh, yeah. It's so interesting. So it was upskilling the yoga teachers as well, and making it even more accessible for the participants.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. There was quite a lot of camaraderie as well, wasn't there, at the beginning of COVID, where it was all sort of very exciting moving online, and you kind of wanted something to do online.
Yeah, that's true when you were stuck at home.
Yeah, for sort of engagement with others. I can imagine that going really well.
Yeah, and good to show that. I think, say, a lot of people might write off older adults and say, oh, they won't use technology, or they won't like using Zoom. But you've shown that no, it does work. It works well.
Yeah.
And is there anything else coming for the project? So obviously you've got your results. Is there any more work in this area?
I mean, I think there's more work to be done. So, I mean, we found that it was safe and valued, but I think future studies need to look at certain things. For example, the measures that we used, so maybe their sensitivity to measure quality of life.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, we've mentioned that our participants were representative of the general population, but they had slightly better quality of life.
So
I think that needs to be looked at in terms of how you make a participant eligible for the study. The eligibility criteria, and also I think the dose of yoga. So we had 12-week classes, and although participants could continue with home practices, maybe he's looking at a longer dose of yoga, or a longer follow-up actually, because ours was just 12 months. So the effects long term. Especially when participants are carrying on yoga as well.
Because it's probably the kind of thing that might have a long-term effect kind of slowly over time, the kind of thing that might take a bit of time. Hello everyone. I'm sorry that you would normally get some nice random researcher questions now, but unfortunately we've done something to the recording. I don't know what we've done.
Not my fault.
No, it wasn't your fault.
I wasn't here.
You weren't even there.
No, but unfortunately it's gone.
It has gone. We've unfortunately managed to lose those questions, so we're really sorry about that. Don't worry, next time we definitely will have the random research questions on there.
And also, Laura and Lesley would like to thank all the people that worked with them on the trials unit. I think they might have said that at the end, but unfortunately we got it cut off.
So we'll put some information in the show notes if you want to learn more about the project. Otherwise, come back next time for a proper full episode with the research questions, we promise. So sorry about that, but...
How many times have you said sorry?
Sorry for saying sorry. Goodbye.
Bye.
Don't forget to like and follow The Research Room wherever you get your podcasts. And if you'd like to leave us a review, that really helps other people find the podcast.
Does it?
It does, yeah.